I didn't intend to actually do a video on this because it's yet another table that I'm doing these days. However, this one has some very interesting things that need to be repaired. My client wants this one to be restained and to go a little bit darker with less red tones. So of course I'm going to do a lot of sanding and staining. Simple job, right? Except there's all of this damage on the table. This is or was his grandmother's table, and they want to keep it. But look at this. I'm hoping that this comes through the camera exactly the way that I'm looking at it here. All these indentations are extremely deep. And so I was going to begin the process of sanding, scuff sanding first to kind of see where all my deep um, scratches are. This is something that I normally do. And then I change my paper and go in deeper with either a 60 and 80, 120, whatever I'm going to use. But I think this time I'm going to do some scuff sanding on this and put something wet on it, a wet towel or something, and then try to steam some of this back up. I'm hoping that that works. Here, definitely I need to do some uh, additional repairs, but that should not be as bad as I feel these are. I'm really hoping that I can raise the grain on this ones and then do the table. Telling you that these scratches are deep is literally an understatement. They are very deep, extremely deep. So, in my experience, raising the grain first before I continue to sand will be the best thing. For that, a steamer, an iron, a heat gun with some that will create the steam. If you put a towel on this, something like that would be the best thing. Kind of scary to me to be doing something like that. I've done this before though, not at this scale. The scale is kind of next level. Don't leave the iron in place too long because of course you don't want to end up with a burnt table. And yes, the towel is very wet and that's helping avoid that burn, but it's still heat with water. The heat still will win. Actually, already I can tell that it works. You see this right here? That's already not a bad thing. I don't know that this is going to be 100% exactly what I need, but I'm definitely going to give this a try because rather than sand down on that, this is still a veneer, so I don't want to damage that veneer. The other thing that I can do is um, use a putty to level the grains right there, and then use I would say an oil base, not just oil based, but a gel based stain to try to cover the repairs. All right, I'm gonna allow this to dry. Sand these pieces right here that have raised a little bit more. I definitely can tell. Oh yeah, it definitely worked, y'all. Almost completely. There are areas that are almost completely even already. This is good. Okay, remember this one? Look how good it came up. Literally, it's even now. It's perfect. That one worked. This one worked so much better. Some of them are just almost completely perfect. This is very good compared to what it was. Very good look. In the middle is actually not even there anymore. And this is getting better and better. I'm going to sand and see how it feels. There's a little bit of ridges right here, and this one, these were the deepest ones. This one is completely even with the sand, with the table. This is like this one and this one. Everything else feels even. So just this two. But look how different. This one has a little bit over here too. But it was so much worse. So this is really good. I'm going to change to my other sander. Oh yeah, this is really good though. So much better. Just I'm sanding with the wrong sander and with the wrong paper on it. I think I have like a 320 on it, so I gotta go down to 120, and then 120 should take care of this. And the table, and it's buffet, and this is where the table is. Those are the repairs. I'll come back tomorrow and sand all of that. Finish sanding this one because I didn't finish. I did find more sandpaper, so I lied. I do have some sandpaper. It was mixed with the one for the other sander. So it's good news, but I gotta come back and do this and all the touch-ups. The legs, yeah, I forgot about the legs. I always do. I always forget about the legs on tables or the slats on beds. Gotta do the legs and then just keep going and then work on this guy, the buffet. I'm working on the mirror. All right, so I'm gonna show you guys a couple of things that I have been too engrossed in my work and completely forgot to record. But this piece, of course, this is the mirror that you guys saw at the beginning, and I have done several repairs. I closed that gap and filled where the breaks, I guess I would call them, were. But also this piece, when I took it apart, this piece right here came off, and it was literally completely shattered. It was part of the break. I think that's probably when the break over here went. This piece goes like this, basically, on here. And so what I have done is I have rebuilt this little piece right here. I got another piece of wood and built this up, trimmed it, and then sanded it over here as best I can. I'm still perfecting a little bit because it's a little bit thick, and then I have to do just a tiny fill right here, and then I'm going to glue and put this back. It is looking so much better than it was. I also, per the client's request, cut the bottom of this and made this straight so that it can hang on the wall rather than go into the buffet than they normally do. So this had like an extra piece over here, and then you would normally like stick that and then screw it from the back. They don't want to do that. They want to hang it. So all of that is being fixed, and once this is done, I will stain the mirror and then add hooks at the back. So that's what I'm working on right now. I'm gonna show you guys on a time lapse the rest of what I'm doing, and I hope that I showed that while I was talking, because I see now that the camera was a little bit moved. But anyways, again, just in case, this is the part right here that I added. As you can see from the back, that's what I added, and it has just a little imperfection right here that I'm going to be fixing, but all of this was shattered and broken right here. That's where it goes. Okay, I thought I was recording and I wasn't. So this is the side that I was fixing, and it's on. Sorry, I didn't record it. I had to take off that piece over there because it ended up being too high over here. I cut it shorter, and so I had to take it off and even it out. So it's cut again. I didn't do the cutting, my husband did the cutting. And I now need to come back over here and re-add this here. Alrighty. And then this piece is drying. Had to make a Frankenstein of this one because it split in a couple of places. So it's pretty glued. I have to sand all of this. I'm gonna leave this to dry overnight and come back and sand it tomorrow and do as little nailing and anything else as possible. Alrighty, here we are again. It's day about 2500 of doing this set, and it just takes forever to finish pieces like this because since I'm working with oil-based products, I have to allow a good few days, normally 48 to 72 hours for everything to dry thoroughly and then be able to go on to the next step. The step that I'm at today is poly, and I use two different polys. This is straight out polyurethane. I'm going to do the first coat with it, do a good, not thick, but a good coat of it, an even coat. And then I'm going to come back with white bond poly. Why do I do that? I like the white bond poly best to work with. It's just easier. However, I think it's important to have a really good coat on the initial, or a good initial coat because is that this will be more protected, and it also I don't have to do as many coats with the thinned out polyurethane, which is basically what a white pond poly is. So this is straight up polyurethane. One more tip will be this is a brush that I only use for poly, and I always soak it in mineral spirits before I start working. So that softens the brush and it doesn't let the poly dry on it. Um, and a third tip is that whatever I had this soaking in, probably about a 5%, I pour it into the polyurethane to thin it just a little bit. And I don't use polyurethane on white pieces. I only use it on stained pieces because you see how amber this color is. So I don't want to do that. But on something that is already stained, it's not a problem. I'm going to go ahead and get started with that. A couple of more tips about polyurethane. I don't work with it enough to remember most of the things that are good about polyurethane. For example, the amount that I used for this entire buffet. Probably 2 tablespoons. I definitely got too much of it. And now that I've contaminated it, because when you use polyurethane, since I'm using a brush, I am taking a little bit of this stain off every time that I brush on and put my brush back on there to dip it into the poly and rebrush or continue brushing on. So I'm probably gonna put this in a different container and put, say, it has a little bit of stain or pre-used or something that's gonna make you remember that you used it and maybe the color of stain that you used it with. But back to the tips, you use very little. The brush, because I had it in the mineral spirits, stays moist and doesn't stick, and that's a benefit of this. Um, This is a high gloss, and then I'm gonna go back with the white bond in satin to tone down that sheen of the high gloss, or not high gloss, but just gloss. But if you wanted to on the body, this would be enough. So you would only have to do one coat because it's so thick and it covers so well. Then that's all it needs. Already you can see right there. Look right there, how shiny it is. And the higher the sheen, the more protection that you have. And because this is oil, this is going to be very well protected. What else can I say? So yeah, I use very little and it goes on very smoothly. Also, this is also self leveling, so it's an amazing product also to work with if you don't mind the stink. I do mind the stink. I have a um, several fans on, and I am in a big area, so make sure that you're in a well ventilated area. I have all of my fans going, which also is actually a drawback because I can also have dust particles that are going to um, be on there, but we'll see once it dries. I'm not touching it right now. Once it dries in about an hour or two, I'll come back, touch it, and if I have to, I'll do some wet sanding with a 400 to 600, maybe even 1,000 um, sanding paper to knock out any of those dust particles that may have settled on there, and then move on to my wipe on poly. In the meantime, I'm gonna do one coat on the top of the table and the legs. For me, the hardest thing about poly is the wait for it to dry. I want to go touch it because I'm used to the the water based, and I know that I can't. I came back and I did one more coat of stain on this morning, and I'm still thinking that it doesn't look as dark as I need it to. So I might need to do an extra coat of stain on it, and this is gonna delay everything that I'm doing. So I can't poly this just yet. It just had a couple of spots, but like see right there, looks too light still. So there's that for that. This table and buffet restoration was such a rewarding project, especially since it involved techniques I don't often use. Raising the grain with a steam process and finishing with gel stain and polyurethane top coat added an extra layer of care and durability to these pieces. It's always exciting to step outside my usual process and see how these unique steps bring out the beauty of the wood. Both pieces are now home with the client, and I'm thrilled to share that they absolutely loved the results. If you enjoyed this transformation, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more furniture makeovers. Thanks for watching, and as always, why not redesign something today? See you soon. Bye.